Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and somebody sent me this product that they need to have done, and I came up with this. I've messed up I've changed some outlines. I messed up the zeros pretty good, and I don't have an exact. I mean, mine's got a little curve to it, but that can. I mean, if you want it exact like this can happen. Probably 15 different ways you could do this. So I'm going to type out. Let me go ahead and start off with like 150 points. Tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and change my default to 150 points right now. And then L period, O period, L period. I didn't have a rounded font, and you can look for a better font, but I found one on DA fonts. It's kind of rounded a little bit better. The only problem is it's not very thick. So we're going to left click, right click. We're going to go to object and break the curve apart. I've got my nudge set on 2 inches. I'm going to nudge those out of the way, and I'm going to take these and group them together. And then I can contour them. I can go to Effects, Contour. I'm going to contour the outside just one time, 0.1. Since I've made it bigger, I'm going to go like 0.5. There we go. That looks pretty good. Then go to Object, break the contour apart. And then if you just grab the center one and nudge it out of the way, there's your new font. And the good thing about it, you can nudge these guys right back up. Now, in the graphic, they have them on top of them, and you can either change that or not, or do anything you want. But now we're going to go ahead and take these lines, and we're going to make them thicker. I'm going to go up to my pen tool. I'm going to make them, well, now that I've made it bigger, I need probably go 24 points. That looks pretty good. But also notice in the original, I'm going to take mine out of the way for a second. I noticed in the original that the periods don't have circles underneath them. So, or circles inside of them. So I'm going to grab the font and move it down. And it's already grouped together, and I made circles. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger to fit the whole thing. And all I did was just, Control Delete, or moved them over with Control D, and then I moved them over half the distance on the way back. And I might make a little short video on that at the end if I've got time. But then what we're going to do is we're going to select them all and go to intersect. And by intersecting, we get that. But we still need the outline, so we'll put it down. Now, because I nudged it, I can nudge it right back up to my dot, so I don't have to move it. And that looks pretty good. Now what I want to do is I want to make a copy of this. Now I can move it wherever I want. Let's put it up here. And I want to hit the plus key on the keyboard, and I want a complete copy of it in case I mess something up. And then with this, and go to Object and group it all together. And then I'm going to use the block shadow tool. It came about later. And if you don't have, for the one I'm doing it for, if you don't have it, let me know and we can figure out a different way to do it. And then I'm going to go to Object and break the block shadow apart. I'm going to nudge the block shadow down, and I'm going to make it that color right now, but I'm not really going to use it because I want to really use the outline, because then I can put it back. And you see what it did, where this is a straight line and probably a little better for what you need to do. You can take your shape tool, and I would delete those 2 nodes first, and then I'd just go through here and delete all these nodes, and then you have a flat bottom. I wouldn't worry too much about these nodes because they're not really important. Matter of fact, this one's probably going to look more like the original, where they had this line kind of straight across here. And so we could arch that down and maybe make it look pretty good. I don't know why there's so many nodes right there. I guess part of the dots. And then we can take that node and nudge it down to the outline. But what's so cool about this now, we can, and I'd make this line straight. I might have to really zoom in here and delete those two nodes, and then that node, and then this node I can bring down. And you actually could align those, but that's good enough. Then I'm going to take my Smart Fill tool, fill on like a pink, and I'm going to fill that in, I'm going to fill that in. That's pretty much what they have. I might have a little bit of overbleed on my color, but that can be fixed too. And then just type, I think it said birthday girl, in that same font, but I'm gonna have to make it smaller in all caps. And then got an exclamation mark. Now, since I type an arrow, I need to change it to that new font. And we need to kind of put it in there, see if it fits. And the bad thing about this font, you can't make it bold. There's no boldability. You could make that thicker just like we did that. And then we're going to make that font white to kind of show off. Now, I said I kind of like the way it wraps around there where this one does it. And that's all because of my lineage. We could possibly put our nudge factor on something real lower, 0.01, and see if we couldn't nudge this down a little bit. No, it's actually part of that line. But if you don't like that, let me know and we'll figure out another way to do it. And then also, I didn't think about this line. It needs to be a little thicker, so I'm going to hit F12 on the keyboard, make it 8 points. Let's make it 10 points. Hit OK. And that really makes up our line. Let's see if we can't nudge that. There we go. Kind of gets rid of that purple. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. They've got some faults in there too. It's just some leakage that I should have done differently. And I might set my nudge factor on something higher. Let's still go 2 inches. Take this away. And I don't see how the Smart Fill tool got into that. Let me do it one more time. Yeah, see, it's wrapping around somehow. Let's back up here. Let's tell you what, let's make this line thicker to start with. I think we put 10 points, maybe even 12. Maybe that'll stop that bleed. Nope, it's still going beyond the, got it set on no outline, so I don't know. If that troubles you, let me know. Then I messed up the girls, but you can just easily retype that. You could just take that color away and it's probably still there. Yeah, and then just use the Smart Fill tool. It's always easier to add it after you're done because you can go back in here and do this. And then you've got a white font. I guess I got a little time to make how I made these. I just made a little dot. And I'm not saying I did it perfectly, but I'm just going to take one of the dots just real quick. I think I went to 0.6, maybe 0.06. Let me zoom in here. Control D and make a duplicate. Nope, that's good enough. And then just keep going all the way across with duplicates. My laptop sometimes won't keep up. But then just do as many as you need to get across there. And that's really a little bit much. No, you know what? I think I did 0.7. So let's change it to 0.7. Control D and nudge it. Control D. And just make as many as go all the way across the text. And then group this, Control G. And then take your nudge factor. Well, we need to Control D and make a duplicate and go down. And then cut your nudge factor in half, so 0.35, and just move them over. And then you could keep it on 0.35. So group that together, Control G, Control D, and just, yeah, I'm nudged it twice first, And then before you put it in, into a container, you need to group it all together. I'm going to have some down here that I don't want, but you have to group this together to make it work. And then just take your object, whatever it is, put it inside there, and then just select it all and hit intersect. And then just remember you want to nudge, because the dots come, and then if you want your outline, you need to nudge it over. Of course, you'd want to set your nudge on something higher. But that way you have a larger let me make that black just to make it look better. I just hit F12 on the keyboard. And there you go. I hope that helped them a little bit. And if I find out a better way, I might make a second video. Hope that